So welcome back, and how did you go with these 10 qualities? Is there some room to move? I'd imagine there would be as you start to really build the X factor within your business. Now, there are two models that we looked at in the 10X Advantage, right up front in the very first coaching club. Let's review these because they are so appropriate from a selling success point of view. The first one is your revenue growth points. What we said is we need to look at how do we go about increasing the number of clients. Two key strategies there. The first one was a retention strategy. The second one absolutely is an acquisition strategy. How will we go about acquiring brand new clients? So that's a process certainly of both marketing and selling in there. Once we have a client in our client pool, it's a matter of ongoing servicing those clients in such a way that we can increase their frequency. How often they come back and buy off us. This is very much a stimulation strategy about how you're stimulating me as a client to come back and do business with you more often. Is there any loyalty bonus there? Is there any way that I could actually come back and do business again with you? And then the final point here is increasing the dollars per transaction. It could just be a simple price increase, or there could be a way of adding some additional value in the process. When we start to bring that together, then we realize that's the absolute key to growing revenue. Now, there are other ways to growing profit, but basically revenue is centered around these particular points. Given that, we need to understand that selling is the process of one, attracting and therefore converting new clients. It's actually bringing them in. So in many, many cases, one of the biggest challenges is we don't actually know the conversion rate. So therefore, if you're in a retail situation, do you have a counter on your front door? Do you actually know the number of people who come in, how many people actually buy? Do you have a campaign where you've actually put some marketing material out there? Do you know out of the inquiries that came in for that marketing, how many of them you actually are converting? The interesting thing is that most people in business think their conversion rate is much higher than what it really is. So the ability for you to get some real clarity on this conversion is going to make a huge difference. Now, your coaching club coach can help you with this and get some real clarity in terms of what is your conversion and what are the key measures you need to have in place in order to make sure you're moving forward. You've probably already got these in place, but it would be well worth looking at and making sure absolutely that these are working brilliantly well for you. The other model that we looked at right up front in your first coaching club was the whole perception. You see, there's a sea of sameness out there, and if you are like another blue dot compared to the competitor out there, and I'm going to make the assumption right now that you aren't the only choice for me in your particular marketplace. In other words, I could buy your product or service, or I could buy a similar product or service, maybe even exactly the same product or service from someone else either close by or in the immediate area. That means if we have a sea of sameness, you're going to force me to actually buying based on a price issue. If I see no perceived difference between you and your competitors, that's going to force me into a price situation. Our real goal here, and you may remember this, we spoke about this right up front, is how do we stand out? What's that X factor we have as a business? And it's a combination of things that what is it like to do business with you? That's what we're looking at here from a selling point of view, how we go about creating that. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause the DVD, and we're going to ask the simple question, really, what are the reasons why a client would select you? These would be classically called your points of difference. What are your standout factors? Why do business with you? So in a moment, you're going to be asked the question, and I'm going to ask you to write this down as well. Why do business with you? What are the things that you do better than anyone else in the marketplace? And just watch out here. Are we in a sea of sameness, or are we actually really starting to create point of difference to create that remarkable service, that remarkable business out there that people are attracted to do business with? Pause the DVD right now and have a quality conversation and tune in and say, what are our points of difference? And I'm talking here specifically about positive difference in doing business with you. Enjoy the conversation right now.